This is a story that I haven't seen a lot of people talk about, but it's a really good sign for the culture. And the sign is that Burning Man ticket prices are collapsing. You know, Burning Man, if you have never been, if you're listening to this show, you very likely have never been to Burning Man. Maybe you have, but you probably know some big lib or hippie who has been. Burning Man is this weird ritual every year where people go out to the desert, like a bazillion people go to the desert, and they do a bunch of drugs, and they have sex with a lot of people, and they move around like weirdo hippies, and they worship this burning idol. And people think of it as an artistic event, you know, man, or it's like kind of a cultural, it's like a fun, like weird cultural thing. Well, it was a really big deal, and now the tickets are collapsing. Tickets face value are $575, and yet now they're selling for as low as $139. Parking passes used to be $150, now they're being marked down to $105. We've never seen anything like this. What's going on? Is it an artistic shift? No, it's not, because that people don't like the music as much anymore. Is it a cultural shift? Not exactly. It's a religious shift, because Burning Man is a religious ritual. They literally worship a burning idol. Okay, there is virtually no difference between what the hippies do at Burning Man and what the apostate, perfidious Israelites did in the desert when Moses went up the mountain and left them alone to their own devices, and they started having all sorts of bacchanals and worshiping a golden calf. There is virtually no difference. And forget about the Israelites for a second. Shows you that even the most serious, monotheistic, God's chosen people can be so faithless. But virtually every pagan society throughout all of history, throughout the Hellenic world and throughout the uncivilized world too. This is what they do. They do a bunch of drugs, and they have a bunch of orgies, and they worship gigantic idols. That's what they do. And that's what they were doing here at Burning Man. And I think people just got sick of it, because religious fads come and go. False gods come and go. This is the wisdom of Bishop Fulton Sheen, who says that if you marry yourself to the spirit of the world, you'll find, the spirit of the age rather, you'll find yourself a widow in the next. So the Burning Man, the false Burning Man god, seems to be passing away. There are other false gods that are cropping up. These same weirdo new agey hippies are going to go do some other bizarre ritual that's going to involve a lot of drugs and a lot of orgies. A lot of bizarre activity, but it's not going to be this one. This one's not going to endure. Only true religion endures. This is the line of Hilaire Belloc, who says the way that he has to take it on faith that the Catholic Church is real, that's divinely instituted. But if you don't believe it, the proof of its divine institution is that no other organization conducted with such knavish imbecility would have lasted a fortnight, much less 2,000 years. A lot longer than Burning Man. Right now, go to Geniusell.com/Knowles. What do you see when you look in the mirror? Do you see dark spots? Well, they're not going to go away on their own. You need help from Geniusell's Dark Spot Corrector here just in time for the summer and for the fall and for the winter all year round. The Dark Spot Corrector has not one but 3 cutting-edge ingredients, goes to work fast on sunspots, dark spots, liver spots, even old discoloration both on your face and hands. You will be amazed at how quickly you see results. You can now enjoy summer beach, sun, barbecues, without embarrassing spots. With Geniusell, you will see the results or your money back, no questions asked. Go to Geniusell.com/Knowles right now. Get your dark spot corrector with the new Geniusell Most Popular Package and say goodbye to those pesky spots tomorrow. They're offering free shipping, free returns, and the best luxury skincare you've ever used, all for 70% off. All orders will also include a mystery luxury gift while supplies last. Geniusell.com/Knowles. Ron DeSantis, who's still the number 2 guy in the race, got in a little bit of trouble over the weekend because he had an interview with Will Witt, our pal Will Witt, formerly of PragerU, now of the Florida Standard, in which DeSantis described Trump voters as listless vessels.
We have a strand in our party that views supporting Trump as whether you are a rhino or not. And so you could be the most conservative person since sliced bread. Unless you're kissing his rear end, they will somehow call you a rhino. So it's been totally detached from principle and what you actually believe and results. And it's more about, just what faction you happen to do. So there'll be people who are huge Trump supporters, like in Congress, who have like incredibly liberal left-wing records that's really just atrocious, and yet they're viewed as by some of these folks as like really, really good. Then you have other people, like a Congressman Chip Roy, who's endorsed me, Congressman Thomas Massey. These guys have records of principle fighting the swamp that are second to none, and yet they will be attacked by some of these people and called rhinos. So it's just been totally detached from any type of substance, and ultimately...
Okay, put a pause there. Let's pause it right there. Okay, he has more to say, which is important, but as for what the governor said up till that point, he's basically right. His observation is right, that there are very liberal Republicans in Congress who, because they support Trump, get praise and adulation from the more conservative elements of the GOP base. Well, that seems crazy, doesn't it? Whereas you get a Chip Roy or you get a Thomas Massey or other people who have pretty decent bona fides as right-wingers, rock-ribbed people, and they get attacked by the more conservative wing of the GOP, and they get lumped in with the more liberal wing of the GOP, and it's all based on whether or not you support Trump. That is more indicative of whether you're considered a hard right-winger or a squishy liberal type than one's voting record or the statements that one makes on various policy issues. That part is true. Now, where DeSantis, I think, goes wrong is in his explanation of this.
A movement can't be about the personality of one individual. The movement has got to be about what are you trying to achieve on behalf of the American people. And that's got to be based in principle. Because if you're not rooted in principle, if all we are is listless vessels that's just supposed to follow, whatever happens to come down the pike on Truth Social every morning, that's not going to be a durable movement.
Would that it were so simple, Governor. Would that it were so simple. But first of all, not a good idea to insult the primary base. And the way he does it here, it's not as bad as the deplorables comment as some people are suggesting it was. It's not as bad as the bitter clingers argument. In fact, DeSantis is lumping himself in there. He's saying, look, if we all do this, we conservatives, we Republicans, then we're going to be listless vessels and we're not going to do very well. Okay, fair enough. The thing that he gets wrong here is that politics is not just about the message. It's also about the messenger. This gets back to a basic observation from the Canadian communications theorist Marshall McLuhan. The medium is the message. The medium is the message. In politics, especially, that's the case because we're electing men. We're not just electing robots. We're not just electing blank slates, or we're not just electing 5 bullet point manifestos on the back of a napkin. We're electing living, breathing men with flesh and blood who walk around and who say things and who do have personalities. Politics is largely about personality. And a problem for DeSantis is because he's the anti-Trump candidate, he's attracted a lot of support from the squishy liberal side of the party. I don't think DeSantis has particular affection for the squishy liberal side of the party over the conservative side, but that's just the way these sort of things shake out. You think about if you only voted on issues, let's say you were an abortion voter, you're purely pro-life, that's the only issue you cared about, you'd probably vote for Mike Pence. Right? Mike Pence has a very, very consistent record of being pro-life, much more so than Donald Trump. And Donald Trump has spoken favorably of abortion rights, quote unquote, in his career. And yet Trump got more done on abortion than Mike Pence did. Mike Pence was part of that because he was the vice president of the administration. But you don't just vote on issues, you vote on the whole thing. And the reason the personality matters is because Donald Trump is viewed by the liberal establishment as a wrench into the system. That's why they're prosecuting him over nothing. That's why they're making up these ridiculous excuses to prosecute him. Because the very fact of electing this guy was such a middle finger to the system in 2016 that they can't take it anymore. And so that's why they tried to undermine his administration based on BS that they just fabricated out of whole cloth. And that's why they're trying to put him into an orange jumpsuit now. It's a little bit like the facts don't care about your feelings thing. It's true that facts don't care about your feelings exactly, but politics largely cares about your feelings. And that's why DeSantis, though he's got a great record and though he's got a great program and he's probably got a very coherent political vision, he is going to have to inspire personal loyalty based on his personality if he wants to take the number one spot in the race. It's as simple as that. What a great clip that was, huh? Wasn't that good? Well, if you want more of it, you got to subscribe to the Michael Knowles YouTube channel. We'll see you next time.